Hey there, it's Nick.
And it's Leah.
Real quick thing before we get going. Please subscribe to our show and follow it.
In whatever platform you're listening to us on.
Yes, whatever app you're using right now, there's probably a plus button or a little bell or it says subscribe. Well, tap that, please.
Just a quick little, and it makes such a big difference for us. We would really appreciate it.
We really would. So please do that, and thank you.
Thank you.
And now, let's start the show.
Yay!
Hey everybody, it's Nick Leighton.
And it's Leah Bonnema.
And we had so many great questions from you all in the wilderness.
Ow!
That, we have a bonus episode. So here we go. Our first question is, quote, what is the etiquette of ordering from somewhere that's about to close? The other day, my husband and I passed a Dairy Queen about 15 to 20 minutes before they closed. I really wanted to go through the drive-thru and get ice cream, but my husband said he was not interested in purchasing ice cream with saliva in it. We did not end up going, but if we had, would it have been rude to show up that close to closing time?
Not at a drive-thru.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Because it feels like the answer is just like, no, if they're open, they're open. But that's not the answer, right? There's nuance. There's layers, right?
I don't think with a drive-thru there's nuance and layers because they're closing down inside the actual restaurant while the drive-thru is staying open.
Okay. I mean, I think the thrust of this is some places, when they're closing, they have to like do stuff. They have to clean, they have to like cool down machines and fryers and stuff like that. So there is like a shutdown procedure. And so I guess the question is, when does that start? Does that start when the doors are locked, or does it start at some hour before that where they're like winding it down? And I guess the husband's concern is that you are keeping these people later than they ordinarily would be there by ordering something, right? Like that's the concern.
I think his concern is that you're at the bottom of the ice cream and it's getting everybody's...
Oh, that's how you interpret this?
Oh, saliva
No.
in it like they spit in it?
That's how I thought. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Now that you said that, it's very clear that that's what it is.
Wait, what was your version?
You know how when you get to the bottom of the soda, you're like, and somebody else is like, do you want the rest of my soda? And you're like, no, I don't want that. That's like washed back.
So you think
I was thinking he was saying that about that. I was like, I don't think that works that way with the machines. But now that you pointed out, that's not what he was saying at all.
Okay. I mean, we can put your theory on the whiteboard.
Woo!
But,
No, now that you've made it much clearer. I don't think that
Yeah.
with drive-thrus, they've already closed the front because people are mopping and getting it ready, and they expect you to go to the drive-thru right up until closing.
I see.
I don't think that anybody is putting saliva in your... That's what they expect to happen.
Yeah, I feel like if it's a drive-through and it's during operating hours, I think have at it. Now, I think if you are going to a restaurant and want to be seated for a 90-minute to 2-hour experience and it's 5 minutes to closing, I mean, maybe there's further conversation required.
Yeah, that's totally different because you're staying and making people stay open.
Right. So I think I appreciate the not wanting to inconvenience employees by making them stay later than they should idea. Like, I think that's not a bad idea. But then the question is like, are we actually doing that?
You're buying, you're driving.
Yeah, I think if you can do what you need to do and get it done while the business is still open, I think that's fine. Like, relatedly, if you were going to go to a clothing store and you want to try on 5,000 pairs of jeans, if you can do all that in the 10 minutes before they close and be out of there with your purchase, I guess that's fine. But if you expect to like have this long experience and that's really going to carry over closing time, yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that.
I think that's it exactly.
Yeah.
I love that I read this question so wrong. And then when you said it, I was like, oh, that was obviously what he meant. And, you know, I'm a creative reader. Also, sometimes if I feel like I'm cutting it real close, but it's like a drive-through, I'm running in and running out, I'll throw a little extra tip in there just to be like, hey.
That's nice to do. Yeah.
I appreciate this. I needed that. I needed that ice cream. I'm going to throw a little extra tip your way because you probably wanted to clean the machines.
And I think when in doubt, ask. Oh, are you guys still open? Are you guys still serving? Is your kitchen still open? When do you close? Would it be okay if?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could always ask and see what the response is. And if it's like, oh no, our fryers are down, so, you know, we can give you this item, but we can't give you this item. Like maybe there's a negotiation.
And I think they will tell you, hey, that's not open anymore. This is what we have.
Right. Okay. So I think we have decided this was fine. Don't worry about spit in your ice cream.
Yeah. And I'm saying this as a person who's regularly worked in restaurants. If people come in and they just want to grab something and go and it's at the end, I've never had a problem with it.
Okay. So our next question is, quote, I don't eat meat or dairy, so when I go out to a restaurant, I usually have to alter my order a little bit. It's easy and I don't make a big deal about it, but I have friends who never fail to make some sort of disparaging comment about my choices lacking pizzazz. What can I say to them to forever end their annoying comments without breaking the rules of etiquette?
I really feel, and as you've said before, when you say, who am I today?
Yeah, who are you today?
This may just be because of who I am today,
Uh-huh.
but I felt the same way when I read this question 3 days ago and I thought about it. I really feel like you can just directly say to your friends, please stop making disparaging comments about my food choices.
Yeah, although before we get there, can we talk about the word pizzazz? I was realizing that I like this word and I don't use it enough. And I feel like I really want to make an effort to incorporate the word pizzazz into my life.
I think you should.
I feel like I need more pizzazz in my life.
I have 2 people in my life that actively use the word pizzazz. So,
Okay.
And I love it.
Okay. And it's a good thing. We're not worried about me becoming a third person in your life.
No, I love it. And as soon as I hear it, I just want to shake my shoulders. You know what I
even
mean?
looked up the definition. Quote, an attractive combination of vitality and glamour. I'm like, is that not what I'm looking for in life? I mean, yes. So assignment, everybody, try to do something that adds a little pizzazz to your day this week. Just try one pizzazz item.
One pizzazz item.
One pizzazz item. That's all, just one. So back to the question though. Yeah, I mean, I think you could just shut it down politely. That is an A-OK etiquette-approved way to go.
Because the only other ways I could imagine are being passive-aggressive about making some kind of comment back, which I am not in love with. Or you could also, when you're not at the restaurant, if they say, hey, do you want to come out to lunch with me? And you say, oh, I'd love to, but you always make some kind of comments about my food. Are you going to be able to handle it? I don't, that seems to be not.
Yeah, I mean, I like where you're going with that, but it's sort of like the execution is going to be real tricky.
Yeah.
To anticipate an etiquette crime. I had a list of things you could say, but I don't think they're good.
I want to hear them. I want to hear them.
Yeah, no, these are not good. But one is to say, bless your heart. I think this is a great place for a bless your heart. Or just a sigh that conveys just this is exhausting. Just sort of a, So that was an idea.
Because you can't see Nick at home, he did the but then he also pulled his lips back. So I think that's sort of an important part of the look.
Yeah, no, it does require some participation with the whole face. There was the thank you for your concern, or I'll manage, but thank you. Or don't worry, I'll bring the pizzazz. And that's an occasion to use the word pizzazz, which I thought, that's a win. No? Okay.
No, I like all of these. I like all of these.
I'm not getting a lot of pizzazz with your responses.
I think you could say, well, don't worry, I'm eating it, not you.
Right. Oh, yeah, I had, good. Then I won't feel guilty about not sharing it with you.
That works.
Right?
That feels like you could say that in an upbeat voice.
Yeah, tone is key. Yeah. And then the last thing on my list is, well, life is full of disappointment. So I think that's also something you could try.
I had some ideas that were so wrong, but I loved the visual. Like your friend makes fun of you and then you just knock all the salt and peppers off the table.
Oh.
Like real violent, and then stare in her face.
Gosh. Who are you today, Leah Bonnema? Wow.
But
Okay.
why are we commenting on our friends' food choices?
So it becomes a prison lunchroom.
Yeah, it's like a prison lunchroom. And then you stare each other off.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, put it on the whiteboard.
Then we'll put that under the no column. But I feel like you got to get that feeling out of why do they commenting? And then I have to find a polite response, No,
but in general, can we just not comment on people's food? There's just never a good occasion for it. Unless you're saying oh, your burger looks good. Unless it's that, there's no other commenting on food that's sort of available in an etiquette approved way, right?
Yeah, no.
There's just not. Oh, that's big, or you're going to eat all that, or, oh, you like that? There's no other comments that are available.
That just reminded me, I was just really quick of the commenting. I was on the road with another comic who was a woman and we were out eating and we ordered nachos to share and multiple people walked over to us. We were sitting at the bar and said, that's a lot of nachos for 2 ladies.
What?
I was like, who are you? Who are you?
Well, I mean, was it a lot of nachos for 2 ladies? I mean,
no,
that's
it was
the first
one
question.
plate of nacho. That's not the first question. It's not. If it was a pile of nachos, it was still. I think they were just trying to talk, but I was like, is your intro?
Oh, is a pickup line?
Yeah, because then we would just be like.
Yeah, what is the response to that?
Yeah, I was like, I don't engage. I just stare.
Well, what is the appropriate amount of nachos for two ladies, I guess? Is there a number?
I just stare at people.
Yeah. I mean, for that, I give you permission to shove all the pepper shakers onto the ground.
It's just so weird when people comment on food.
Yeah, it's not really ever done, so don't do it.
Don't do it.
And now it's time for an intermezzo.
Intermezzo.
So this episode is brought to you by Talkspace. So Leah, what is Talkspace?
Talkspace is online therapy.
That's right. And once you match with one of their licensed therapists, you can message them anytime through the app or schedule a live session if you need some FaceTime.
And what I absolutely love about Talkspace is they will find your perfect match. It's not confined to your physical location because it's all online. So if the specialist you need is in the other side of the world, they can still match you up.
And once you match with your therapist, you can message with them anytime, anywhere.
And all of our listeners know how big into therapy I am. I think it's so great to have somebody to work your issues out with, whatever your issues may be.
So, if thoughts and emotions are piling up, a fresh perspective can help you feel better. Match with your dedicated therapist today at Talkspace.com and use promo code RBW during signup to get $100 off your first month. That's $100 off Talkspace.com, promo code RBW. And now it's time for an intermezzo.
Intermezzo.
So this episode is sponsored by Peloton.
And Peloton is pushing you further with so much new on the Peloton Bike and Peloton Bike Plus.
That's right. So I did a class this morning. I did the 30-minute yoga flow class, all to the soundtrack of ABBA.
And for our listeners at home, you do not have to have the Peloton Bike to have the app. You can just get the app and do all these cool workouts in your home.
And what's nice about the app is no matter what class you're taking, there's a soundtrack that they've already curated, and it tells you what song is playing as it comes up, which is nice. Because sometimes you're in a workout class, you're like, oh, I like the song, I don't know what it is. And, you're in the workout class, so then you forget about it. But this actually will tell you all the music that's in a class.
I love that.
So right now is the perfect time to try out Peloton. The Peloton Bike Plus is now $500 less. It's the best price yet, including free delivery and setup. And there are more game-changing prices available on the original Peloton Bike and Peloton Tread. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. So, our next question is, quote, recently, I was having a rather flirty conversation online and was asked if I have Instagram. I don't, but I didn't know whether I should just say no, or no plus sorry, or just phrase a response that communicates that I don't have it without using a negative word like no. Do you mind clarifying the American corridor of politeness on this matter?
I think it's fine to say no. And then because it's a flirty conversation, you may want to follow up with a little bit of like a sentence. So it maintains flirtiness if that was the goal so it's just not like a no. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, period, send. Yeah, that's probably not the tone we're going for.
I think it could just be something like, no, I don't use the socials.
And I think this is a great place for emoji.
Yes.
And it's the emoji of your choice. You have quite a lot of choices depending on how flirty you'd like to be. But yeah, I think this is a great time for emoji.
Maybe a winky?
A winky, sure, yeah. And I think you could say like, oh, I'm afraid I don't. And then some joke maybe like, oh, but I'd love to send you as many photos of frozen rosé as you need. Or, whatever the Instagram cliche of the moment is.
Which I'm pretty sure is called frosé.
Yeah, I guess that's how out of touch I am.
No, I just learned that. So I'm floating that out there because that's a recent thing that I learned.
I only drink rosé. So that's rosé for men. But yeah, I think, the I'm afraid I don't, but, or like, oh, I'm sorry I don't, but I'd be fine with that response.
Oh, me too. I do a lot less socials than I used to because I just can't. So when people are like, hey, are you on this? I'll be like, no, I'm still sending ravens. Like it's like a little LOL. You know what I mean?
But also, I think just worth mentioning that sometimes asking for somebody's socials can feel a little invasive and like kind of violating a little bit. And just a reminder, health and safety always trumps etiquette. So if you feel not comfortable sharing a social, even if you had Instagram and didn't want to, like it is okay to say no. You are not obligated to share things you don't want to share with people who are flirting with you online. So just want a reminder, it's okay to say no. Set those boundaries, stick to those boundaries. It's totally polite to do that.
Very important. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So our next question is, quote, What's the polite way to ask a restaurant server if drink refills are free? We end up finding out that we just spent $10 on 2 glasses of iced tea after we get the bill. It would be nice for a heads up.
May I speak to this as somebody who
Please.
struggled with this on the other side? I worked in a restaurant in New York where they didn't do free refills. And they basically wanted us to not tell people that we weren't doing free refills.
What?
So people would just keep ordering.
That's devious.
Yeah, it's devious, ordering sodas, and I couldn't do that.
You were specifically instructed to hide this information from your customers.
Not hide it, like if they asked directly, not going to lie, but to be like, hey, do you want... They wanted us to push the refills without bringing up that they were getting charged every time.
Right. Yeah. So how do you do that slickly?
I obviously couldn't do it because it's against my entire nature. So I would always be, especially you have a family from out of town. They're not used to New York prices. They have like 3 kids. You know what I mean? They're going to get the bill and be like, what? So I would
how did we spend $50 on root beer?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I would say, would you like another? If a server says, do you want another beverage? Or do you want a refill? It's a different question.
Right. Yes. No, using the word refill implies free refills, I guess.
But I also don't want to assume that people can't get another beverage. So it was always like a fine line where I would just say it's a different drink that we don't have free refills.
Right. Yes. No, I mean, I think as a restaurant, it's nice to not trick your customers.
I'm not going to trick people.
But sure.
So as a person who's ordering beverages, I have no problem asking. I'll say, do you guys do free refills?
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, being in New York, I don't think I've ever seen a refill ever. Like I've heard about them. I've read about them in books, but I've never actually seen one. So it would not occur to me that like, oh, I could ever get another beverage for $0. Like I'm not wired that way.
It's amazing out here, let me tell you.
Just outside of New York City, what goes on?
Yeah. Somebody brought a pitcher the other day at the table and I was like, is this just, they were like, oh, refills. And I was like, what?
Oh, like here's just a whole thing of Sprite for this
just
price
keep
of
refilling
one.
yourself. Yep.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I've not lived in this world. But yeah, if that's what you're used to, then I guess, well, I mean, etiquette is local. And so the etiquette of refills in New York is different than in other places. So I guess if you are in a place that might have different etiquette and you're not sure what the etiquette is, then asking. Yeah, I think you just ask straight up like, hey, I would like another Sprite. Do you have free refills or not? And I would just ask straight up.
Yeah, it's not rude at all to ask.
No. In fact, I think it's probably just a good idea to clarify if you are confused to avoid any of that awkwardness at the end of the meal.
Absolutely.
So our next question is, quote, this is less of a question and more of a rant. My wife and I had a wedding of about 150 people. The ceremony, meal, and speeches were in one location in Manhattan, and then a reception for dancing and drinks was immediately following at another location, walking distance away. There was no space between these events, like sometimes happens if you have a traditional church wedding, and then folks drive somewhere for a reception, and then there's a big lag time in between. No, the time in between each event was only for reasonable travel on foot to the next location. We warned everybody about wearing the right shoes and offered cabs. During the dinner, a lifelong friend and her husband invited their entire table of 8 to go view their new apartment nearby. No, not after the wedding, during it. So instead of heading straight to the reception after dinner, they had people over to their new apartment for drinks. So needless to say, we were at the reception dancing for a while before we noticed a missing group. When they finally arrived, maybe 90 minutes after all the other guests, there was no explanation. Honestly, it wasn't even a focus for me at the time, and I kind of only half noticed it and forgot. And I didn't learn what happened until the following week when a friend told me and came clean, saying she was at that table and was unwittingly caught up in the excursion. She thought the group was just making a brief detour at this couple's place to pick something up. But once she saw this couple was having a cocktail party during our wedding, she left. So I guess my question is it rude for your lifelong friend to bring a bunch of people from your wedding to their fancy apartment and have an impromptu housewarming party during your wedding? Like, I know it's rude. I would just like you all to confirm and be horrified in solidarity.
I am horrified in solidarity. Horrified. You're going to have a housewarming party during my wedding?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
I mean, when you RSVP for an event, you are committing to the event and being a full participant in the whole event.
You're not stealing people. Not only are you not participating, you have stolen people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think why it's rude actually comes down to, well, it's rude for a lot of reasons, but I think it's rude for the reason of density. Have we ever talked about party density?
No, we have not.
Okay. So party density is like the concept of we want to achieve a certain density when we're entertaining. And the level of density depends on what type of party we want, how many people per square foot. And like, have you ever gone to somebody's house and there's like 4 people like scattered throughout the whole house and it's like weird, as opposed to like, oh, we're all in the same room, like enjoying each other's company. And so why this is rude is that these hosts had planned a certain amount of density for their event. And you just sucked people out of this event and changed the density dramatically. And so now we are having an event with less density. And so you are affecting the happiness of all the other guests because they can feel this drop in density. And that will be felt. You will notice it in a way that's not great. Density is also the reason why, like, at the end of a party, everybody ends up at the kitchen. Because as humans, we're naturally trying to maintain some, like, minimum density. And so that's why we all gravitate towards each other as the numbers dwindle so that we can, like, maintain density in, like, the smallest room possible. So it is, like, this interesting thing about party planning. But density, I think that is why this is rude, because these people change your density without permission.
2 things. I think that's 3 things. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I just learned all of that.
Okay.
Off that, very wolf packy. We're finding our wolf pack. We're staying with the pack.
True.
And third thing, yes, density. Also rude because this was their day. This was their day.
Also that. Yeah, that's actually probably what it really is.
Yeah, I think that's the big one for me. That's the big one for me. Besides density, which also rude, and I love learning that. You've changed their wedding day to be about your new apartment.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I guess that at the end of the day, it's selfish and rude. Yeah.
So selfish. I would have trouble being friends with this person anymore. I'd be like, did you just throw a party in the middle of my wedding day?
Well, I love the idea of like, oh, come see our apartment. Okay, I don't love that detour, but it's sort of like, okay. I mean, fine, pop in. Let's just check it out. Ooh, nice faucet. But now we're like, oh, we're opening beverages and pouring drinks while this other event is happening. That's a little far.
Whole other level. You do a stop by. Oh, my apartment's on the way. You want to take a look? I just got a new curtain. Fine.
Right.
I'll accept.
I mean, it's not fine, but like, I'll be more fine with that.
Yes. Not fine, but okay.
Right. Yeah. Also, if you just did that, you probably would not have been caught.
Absolutely wouldn't have been caught. Nobody would have noticed.
Right.
Yeah, just like you had a bathroom break on the way there. That's all that is. But you have an hour and a half get together in your home. I am repeating that I am horrified in solidarity.
Yes, we will validate your feelings, letter writer. And yeah. So what do you want to do about it?
I mean, I feel like there must, this is a lifelong friend. This must somehow be in character for them. I can't imagine. I would never think to throw a party during my friends. It's not just a party, it's their wedding day.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the party of all parties.
The party of all parties.
And the lifelong friend is probably a close friend who has been on this journey and has seen this, marriage come about. And so should be there to celebrate and support. Yeah, no, it's bad on a lot of levels.
I'm upset.
A lifelong friend, you have a lot in the bank with them. And so I think if this does upset you, and it should, I think you were well within your rights to be upset by this. I think you could have a polite yet direct conversation about this event and how it made you feel. And my hope is that they will apologize, not realize that what they did was wrong. I would like to think that they did not do this maliciously. It was just careless and not thoughtful. But I would like an apology from them. And so maybe having that direct conversation would give you some closure on this event and help you move on. Because otherwise, I think you're reseating this person in your theater. And so, how you feel about that, that's up to you. But I guess those are your choices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how exciting. Love a good vent.
Also, if you want to give me this person's address.
Yeah, they're in Manhattan, so I'm sure I could pop by.
Nick can pop by, and I want to be there on speakerphone.
Yeah, we could definitely FaceTime you in. And I'll do a house call for this one. Yeah. But yeah, let me see this new apartment. I'll tell you what I think about it. So, do you have questions for us or an event? We'd love to hear it. So please send it to us. You can send it to us through our website, wereraisedbywolves.com, or you can leave us a voicemail or send us a text message, 267-CALL-RBW. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, Leah, one more thing.
What?
Have you signed up for Patreon yet?
I have.
Me too. You out there, have you signed up for Patreon yet? No? Well, go to our website, wereraisedbywolves.com, click on monthly membership, check it out, because we would really appreciate it if you'd support our show.
We love your support.
We would. So please do that, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.